Last week, yes.
Everybody.
Proud, yeah.
Diane, her brother,
That's right.
Alexis, and her family, Teresa, Bobby,
Gwendolyn.
Gwendolyn. Yeah, I was going down the line.
Okay, yeah.
Marcus and Felicia. Didn't Ron show up late last week? Was that last week? or
Ron
the
was
week before?
here, yeah.
Was Ron here last week?
I thought he was. And then Belinda was here. Somebody else I'm missing.
I should be.
Somebody sat here.
Mhm.
I think maybe the Swains sat here.
Yeah, they
It
were on the
sounded
Zoom.
like it. I was
Yeah.
listening to the
But I'm missing the person.
recording. Tom, Anita and Tommy. Did you pass it?
They weren't here last week.
Wait.
Wait, were they?
Yeah,
They
yeah,
were.
she fixed breakfast.
I was listening to their voices. Like, don't make me feel like I'm losing my mind. I don't know. I heard it, and I heard his
You're
rap.
not losing your mind.
I heard his beeper. I heard his beeper on the recording.
Oh, yeah.
Come on in.
No.
You know, 2 weeks of Rockwell's, everything's matched together.
Yes.
Did you call Jeremy and give him your necessities? That's so nice. Thank you.
She did not.
They also.
I think it was her.
Yeah, who is I'm speaking for you.
Last week.
I know it's just the first week of the month, but I think I have been a lot to pay.
Well, I said that to her last week.
Tell you what.
I don't think, that's what I did anyway.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get paid weekly, so it comes out. I don't know what that is, but it sure looks good to be bought it. I was thinking the same thing. Uh-oh.
Right, yeah, right. And,
Blueberry?
yes. And, Alexis.
I don't think you got it up to you. I'm gonna have to Charlie. Fireworks. Towards the end. Towards the end, he was not happy. He wanted to get in the car, and then he cut it off. And that's what I said.
One of them's at 3. And that's one that's.
Since you work there? I was making an Amazon return. Hello. Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Get it all back.
Good, what all that? Okay, good. No, this one came. That's when I was in. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. How are you?
I usually do.
They're next door to each other. But
I'm not a block apart.
the same shop.
Morning, Brian. Good morning.
Ours are. I'm gonna. So, yeah. Yes, for you, but not for 699.
Yeah. no.
Morning, Dave. Eat it. How you doing?
Are you? Good to see you.
I'm glad to see anybody.
No? Okay.
Everything's all well?
It is. It is. All right,
All right.
let's pray and then we'll jump in here to our study of the book of Yaakov, otherwise known as Jacob, otherwise known as James.
We still in James?
We're still in James.
Yeah. It's a short book. Lots to learn in, by the way.
So let's pray. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kadeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who sanctified us with his commandments and commanded us to engross ourselves in the words of your Torah. Amen. All right, so we are over in chapter 1 of James. So let's open up chapter 1. We're going to cover verses 5 through 8 today, but it is part of this whole section. So let's read the section that it is a part of so that we can get it. And by the way, this sets the stage for all the rest of James. Trials. And so let's start in verse 2. And it says, chapter 1, verse 2. Consider it all joy, my brethren, when you encounter various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance, and let endurance have its perfect work, so that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. Okay, that was last week. Now we'll continue into today. But if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all without hesitation and without reproach, and it will be given to him. But let him ask in faith, without any doubting. For the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. For that person must not suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord. He is double-minded in all his ways. All right, so that part that we're going to look at today is up there on the board. All right? You lack wisdom. What are you supposed to do? Ask. Ask. Okay? Now, so apparently, yes.
I have a question about that. Because usually you said in Hebrew, the verbs are very active. So sometimes we think it's one and done. You ask and you
Right?
know what I mean? But is
Yep.
that pursuit? Does that mean keep asking, pursue it?
Yep. Actually, in the Greek, that is we'll get to it in a second, but that is a present, it's actually a present imperative. So it is a command that you keep on asking.
Okay.
Yeah, you ask now and then you ask tomorrow,
That makes
and
me feel better because I ask for wisdom a lot.
okay, and you don't get it. Sometimes you don't get, okay? Well, there's a reason for that then, because it's set out in this verse right here. Okay? But first of all, are you asking for wisdom in your struggles? Or are you just asking for wisdom for something else?
I never thought about what are you asking for.
Okay? So, because this is all within the context of your struggles, your bad times, your temptations, your whatever.
See, I don't remember anyone ever putting that on.
I think when you think, for me, when I hear asking for wisdom, I think of Solomon when he asked, and so I feel like it's in that one time and it lasted forever and he was this forever. That's where my brain kind of goes with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like you mentioned, I mean, just as you were saying that, I just wanted to verse 4.
Yeah,
It's so that we can be whole and lacking in nothing while perseverance
yeah,
with the word.
yeah. So
If you don't have the wisdom
If-
for that,
if you're not sure how to get through this struggle, if you're not sure how to get through this suffering, then ask wisdom. Ask for wisdom. Okay? Because it is directly connected to that. That's why we read this. It is all one paragraph. Okay? It is all one paragraph. And so trials are seen as opportunities for growth and spiritual development. Okay? And you need wisdom in order to get that. Wisdom is what gets you through the trials. All right? It is not separate from all of this. It is a part of all of this. Okay? So they're seen as an opportunity for growth and spiritual development. And so once again, James isn't teaching anything new here to these Jewish readers or to the Jewish audience. They've already had the Torah and rabbinic literature talks about how trials, how suffering is there to refine your character and to deepen your faith. Well, how can all that be? Well, because hopefully in those trials you have asked for wisdom, and wisdom has just given you this plethora of ways in order to deal with it, to cope with it, to get through it, to grow through it. In fact, in Talmud, this is the Jerusalem Talmud. It states, "Why do you scorn suffering?" Okay? Why do you scorn it? Because part of the suffering is to get you through it on the other side, being wiser and better for it. Okay?
Is the number one is the wise wisdom and for during trial, is that perseverance is necessary?
Wisdom, yes. I don't,
Necessary?
wisdom is necessary to get through trials. Sorry, I have a star here, but, which means I was supposed to have a slide, but I didn't have a slide for it. So anyway, yeah, that's the first one, right? Wisdom is needed to get through trials. All right. And then trials, the next one is trials are seen as opportunities for growth and spiritual development. And so this is very much a part of Jewish thinking, which should be very much a part of our thinking. Okay? In fact, here's what Nachmanides said. This is also called the Rambam, Middle Ages Jewish teacher. All trials in the Torah are for the good of the one who is being tried. Okay? But not just for the one being tried. We're going to see it's good for something else too. Okay? So, what did the Jew understand about wisdom? What do you guys think? What is wisdom? What is wisdom?
Understanding.
Direction, understanding.
The feminine portrayal of God.
Okay? The feminine portrayal of God. It says, at creation, the wisdom was with me, and she gave me guidance or whatever through the process, things like that. Yeah? Okay? So, that is the word. Chokmah. Okay? It's not chochmah. It's chokmah. Chokmah. And chokmah is this gift, and that's what it is. It is a gift of practical guide for living righteously. Okay? Now, we've learned something about gifts at Shalom Falls? What did we learn about gifts? There's reciprocity. Gifts aren't free. Okay? Gifts may be given freely, but gifts aren't free. There's an obligation that is expected with a gift. So if the gift of wisdom is given for the purpose of guiding you through life and living righteously through this, then what is your obligation? To live righteously. Okay? And what we're going to see in a minute is that if you don't ask for this purpose in mind, or God knows the motive for this gift, that you're not going to use it for that, you ain't going to get it. Okay? But we'll talk about that here in just a second. Okay? It is the guide. It is not just intellectual, but it involves humility. It involves curiosity. It involves the ability to learn from other people. All right? And in fact, this is what Pirkei Avot says. It says it's in the Talmud specifically. It's part of the Mishnah. Okay? And it is Pirkei Avot 4:1. It teaches who is wise. It is he who learns from every person. Okay? So this is part of it. So what is this emphasizing? What is this understanding emphasizing about wisdom?
That our walk with God is very important in our life.
Okay?
Humility,
Humility.
because you have to be open to learn from every person.
Open to learning.
It's not a quick fix, it's a constant daily
Yeah.
process.
Good. Good.
Because we would prefer it to just be a one-time, we're good, but it's daily.
Right. And
I just kind of switched around is what makes a great teacher? The one that never stops learning.
never stops learning. Yes.
And I think in our church, my concept, I wouldn't even read a quote by somebody who didn't believe like I did. Like if it was somebody from a Buddhist, whatever, whatever the names are. If it was, I'd look down there, if that was it, I'd not even read it, But to have it, you have wisdom to discern that learning that you learn, and sometimes you learn how not to. You learn how to, and it's, being open to the tension that somebody else might bring into you that may be for learning. And it may be for the trash can, but at least you learn what not to listen.
Based upon the general revelation of the world, which is God, even a Buddhist can see that. And based on that general revelation, he comes to this very wise conclusion about something. Well, maybe we ought to listen. Maybe we should pay attention to that.
If you can use a donkey.
Yeah, you can use a donkey.
My dad used to tell me, your grandpa always said, the day you stop learning is the day you're dying. I don't know, that's always stuff.
Yeah.
It means a little bit more here than it ever.
Because we've been taught that it's more of a destination, you got here, now you're done. Or, maybe not done, but you're sure, or whatever.
Right.
But there's never, somebody keeps moving the bar.
Right.
They always say you learn something new every day.
Yeah. And I think because this is so ingrained into this culture, I think this is why you see in the Jewish mindset the importance of learning, the importance of always gathering information and using that information, right? Utilize it.
In last week's Torah Club book, when it said at 5 Torah, and it like went through the ages. And it wasn't until they were, and it like went to teacher and then to sage. And a sage is one that is not just teaching, but also learning. And I don't know, I was looking for it. It was from the last week, so it wasn't there.
Okay.
But I loved that because it showed that progression. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Huh?
5 Torah.
No. I mean, I know what you're talking about, but I don't know where it is. Okay.
Well, It's in this, vote, Pirkei vote.
Okay, this Pirkei Avot is the teachings of the fathers, and it's just really good. It's just that main section in that Mishnah passage. And it goes back and it just teaches, and it shows, the learning primarily of Abraham, but of others as well. Okay, so you got Mishnah, Avot 4:1. You got Berachot 58a. I think I have that on your sheets. Berachot 58a, and it is teaching that wisdom is to be found in learning from others and in the practice of righteousness. So when you think about this, how is learning from others and the practice of righteousness, how is that beneficial for you going through a struggle or going through a suffering or being tempted, if you will? How does that help?
Helpful to see how other people do it.
Helpful to see how other people did it. Yes. Yeah.
There's something huge to you do, because we tend to feel like we're the only ones in that isolation. But that's why community is important. I actually just had an experience where I had been telling of this issue I was struggling with. It was being rather incapacitating. And I told this person that I felt like we had something in common they could understand. But it wasn't until I told somebody was in community that immediately the answer came to me, because I knew what we had studied together. And it did not come to me. It's that Don Zula told, it just didn't come to me when I was telling this person outside of the community.
Uh-huh.
But within the community, she didn't have to say a word. It came to me on my own. But sharing it in community, because of where we've been, we've talked about this, and that's the first time in a week and a half that the thought comes.
That's cool. That's cool. Community. We're not supposed to, I think that's good. We're not supposed to go through this struggle or these temptations or the suffering alone. It is for everyone in the community. All right. Okay. So
I had a pastor one time came to me, told me, he said, Brother Rob, I've got a problem. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I need you to pray for me. And I was doing that, and one day he came to me and said, problem solved. God gave me the wisdom to take care of the problem.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
So
Good.
what is the part for wisdom and both the divine gift and the practical guide?
Living
For
righteous.
learning, living righteously. Yep.
For learn and living righteously.
Yep. Okay. So now we're going to actually get into verse 5. And we've been talking about wisdom, suffering, how they interact, what's going on. So now we're going to look at verse 5. Okay. But if any of you lacks wisdom while in suffering, you could put that in brackets. Let him ask God, who gives to all without hesitation and without reproach, and it will be given to him. Okay? So, verse 5 encourages the believer to ask for wisdom when it's needed. The concept of asking for wisdom is rooted in the belief that all wisdom ultimately comes from God. That's where it comes from. And so Solomon, Bezalel, all had this idea of asking God for wisdom. And the Midrash, Vayachel 2:1 says, the Holy One, blessed be he, does not grant intelligence to anyone unless he already possesses some already. Okay? All right, so do we all possess a little bit of wisdom? How is that expressed in asking for wisdom?
You gotta know to ask for it.
You got to know. You got to know to be able to ask.
If
Okay.
you don't know there's anything wrong, you don't know to ask. And I had that thrown in my face at a previous job where I didn't know that I was doing something wrong. And then the boss was getting on to me, well, you should have asked. Well, if I didn't know I was doing it wrong, I didn't know to ask. So you should have mentioned it to me that I was doing it wrong so that I had the opportunity to ask questions,
That's good.
to change. Yeah,
Don't stumble through it.
right.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know I was having a problem with it.
And all this is connected to you need to be studying and learning.
Studying and learning.
You can, and that's what Paul said, before the Torah, I didn't know I coveted it, it's just, you know there's something wrong.
Yep. This is, same quote as before, okay? Who is wise? He who learns from every person, okay? So wisdom is a character trait. It's not just an intellectual ability. It's not just, you could have a person with a doctorate degree and just as unwise as they could be, right? The wisest person in my life that I ever known was my grandmother, who had a 6th grade education. She was the wisest person I ever knew.
Common sense, sorry.
Oh.
I don't know if this is churchy definition or what, but when I was taught that knowledge is like the facts and wisdom is knowing what to do with the facts.
What to do with the facts? Yeah, I think that's exactly good.
Okay.
Yeah, knowledge is the facts, and wisdom is how to use the facts in life. Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. Okay. So,
Bob has
yep.
a cup on the table. It says, what part of understanding don't you understand?
Okay.
What part of common sense is it?
What part of common sense? So you guys, I'm glad he brought that up. So you guys tell me, is common sense and wisdom the same thing? No? Okay.
Closely related.
Closely related, but not quite the same.
No.
Okay? All right. So wisdom is that character trait. Okay? And it is cultivated through humility and through action, right? There are those active verbs again. Okay? Wisdom is cultivated through action and through humility. All right? And so this is where the Talmud Brachot gets this idea of the highest form of wisdom. The highest form of wisdom is kindness. Okay? So think about that for a second. Okay? Now I'm trying to make connections here and back to James. Because James is teaching all this stuff that all these Jews already knew. All these Jews knew about Brachot 17a. All these Jews knew about Pirkei Avot 4:1. All of them did. They learned that in synagogue. Okay? And now James is saying, okay, in this struggle, ask for wisdom. Okay? Now we come across this where they already knew this, that the highest form of wisdom is kindness. So tell me, how does kindness, how does being kind, how does active humility toward other people and active actions toward other people help you in your suffering?
It focuses on other people and on God instead of yourself, which is a shaky place to be, because if you're focusing on yourself, you get angry easier, you get depressed easier, you get all kinds of.
Okay, good.
It turns your view from inward to outward.
All right. Okay. So what if your suffering comes from the fact that somebody, I'm going to the ultimate extreme here. Somebody killed your spouse. And that's what you're dealing with. And you've asked for wisdom. And then you've come across Brachot that says the ultimate highest form of wisdom is kindness. How does that get you through the suffering of somebody killing your spouse? That's the ultimate end there.
Before you even gave that was thing, kindness usually portrays itself as mercy.
Okay?
We usually perceive it. When someone's being kind, they're being gracious to us, they're being merciful. There's something behind it. There's usually a reason that we receive kindness, especially in trials or in moments. When it's given to us, it's usually from a place of grace.
Okay?
And so,
It's a good thing we're not God.
to be able to be gracious to someone in your trials,
Mm-hmm.
you're rising above the trials.
Okay?
You're having to step out. Because when everything's going wrong, that's probably going to be the hardest time to be kind or to be gracious, to show mercy to someone.
Okay?
And you're receiving them life.
Sweet.
Proverbs 11:17 says, "A man who is kind does himself good, but the cruel does harm to himself."
Wow, Proverbs 11:17, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay? So you ladies that went through Musar, you remember anything about what his book said about kindness? I don't know, I'm asking, I'm really asking. I'm, as we're going through here, I'm thinking.
Well, while you're thinking, let me tell you what's on this. Did you see these yet? Tammy says, this discussion of trial, suffering, spiritual wisdom, learning, always brings me back to 2 Corinthians 1:3. Our suffering so much of the times evolve into our ministries. And Anita said, wisdom, the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord. So we have to first know to fear the Lord. He punishes and he rewards. So you can't have wisdom or the, quote, correct wisdom until you, quote, fear the Lord.
Oh, that's good. So that goes back to the quote, he's not going to give it to you unless you have a little bit of wisdom. Well, where does your little bit of wisdom start with? It starts with fear of the Lord. Okay, that's good. That's the idea of, well, there's only one person you can really go to solve this issue.
Right.
Okay, really. Okay, yeah.
One of my problems when I was a kid, my mother would get angry with me about something. And she would say, I'll forgive you, but I won't forget it.
Okay.
I just didn't feel like she wouldn't drop it. In other words, she was saying that she was giving me, but hey, I'm in trouble here, going down the road.
So you don't think that's forgiveness?
Not pure, not real.
So you think it's possible for a person to forget something?
I think that that's forgiveness with accountability, if she was trying to grow you.
Forgiveness with accountability.
Yeah.
It is impossible. That forgive and forget,
That's a lie.
It's a mess.
that's a myth.
Is it?
When God says, I have forgotten your sins, if God forgets something, he's not omniscient, he's not God anymore. That is a Hebrewism.
That's true.
So God remembers everything that you've done, but yet he still forgives you.
He doesn't hold it against
He
you.
doesn't hold it against you. And he maintains that relationship despite the fact that you've continued to do that. And you may even continue to do that. And he remembers all of that, but yet he has forgiveness for you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah.
I just struggle with that concept of she's forgiven me and yet she is not going to forget it.
Okay, so let's think about that in a court of
That's
law.
that's not how God works.
If the judge declares you've done your penance,
Yeah.
you are forgiven. But you go out and you do it again, strike two,
Right.
you're gonna get the next level up. So there, with forgiveness is not
And I like that accountability
that, yeah, there's still
she
that
brought up.
level of accountability, because if you forget, then every time you do it, it's like new again, and there's never any increase, it's not true.
So where is kindness, Hesed?
Yeah,
Loving kindness.
could be Hesed. Yeah.
And that is God. And so the highest form of wisdom is God, and that is how he treats all of us with that loving kindness. This
With
is
that
the
loving kindness.
basic mercy. Just kind of speed through our Musar book to kind of get where they were going, but their top heading was loving kindness.
Okay,
Although kindness comes through,
Kindness comes through
a lot of the different
good,
things, but
good. Okay, perfect.
Jesus constantly would tell people, you're forgiven, don't do this no more.
Right,
Go and sin no
go
more.
and sin no more, right? Okay, so,
You can believe in faith and then just go and you can do it. Just do it.
yes. So, let's go back here. If you lack wisdom while going through the struggle, let him ask of God. All right? So, asking is, yes, it is a regular prayer to God to give you wisdom. Okay? Now, how could that wisdom come to you? Maybe he just drops it right on you. Yes, that's a possibility. But what we've talked about so far is how else can you get wisdom? What else can God put here with you in order for you to get wisdom, in order to go through those trials? Community, studying, Torah, scripture, Musar, all of that. Okay? Yes, yes. It is humility, here is your faithfulness. When you ask for it and God either plops it on you or you're in community and it just comes through some mystical way, or you studied it, or you've read it in Musar or something, then you are to actively pursue that and to put it through into kindness with other people, or in humility, or in humble actions, things like that. Okay? That is part of the faithfulness that you have toward this gift of wisdom. All right?
It blows out of the water in the bar. I mean, it doesn't blow it out of the water, but sometimes we're taught that you shouldn't do stuff if your attitude's not right. Well, sometimes you should do it whether your attitude's right or not, because you need to get in the habit of doing it.
Right. What we're going to see later on with James, if you lack faith, then go do something. Maybe you don't want to go and serve food at Faith Mission, but you know what? That may help grow your faith. So go and do it. Okay?
In the Musar book, this is the little blurb I have highlighted from when we went through kindness. Some of this feeling is caused by our false assumption that we need to return the favor. We receive a gift, something freely given. We perceive ourselves obligated to repay the kindness. When we cannot reciprocate, for example, when we are in a vulnerable position like the ill congregant is referring to, we recoil from accepting the offer. Our pride, feeling of unworthiness and fear of obligation towards the other constricts us. Instead of accepting the generous offer of support, praise, or a gift, we reject it and are poorer for it. We are good at giving, but we are terrible at receiving because we fear the need to be grateful. That hurt.
Wow.
I think I'm happy I don't like that. I'm not really
Which,
sure.
which means when people offer to help you and you reject that offer, you are denying them the opportunity for them to be kind. Maybe that's the wisdom that God has given to them to help them through their struggle. And when you reject that, you have denied them their opportunity to get through.
And that's with people being closed off of their problems. I
Mhm.
mean, there's sharing in community. Now, don't go blast on Facebook, okay?
Right?
But sharing it in community, if you're not doing that, then you're not even opening yourself up for kindness.
That's right.
And it could be because you're afraid of the things that the book said, or too prideful to admit that
And
maybe you're struggling.
Yep.
People can't-
And guess what? You're going to stay in that struggle a lot longer than what you were supposed to, because God has put you in that struggle in order to grow you.
Yeah.
Okay? And so that, and by the way, this is what the book of James is all about. We're not going to stop about talking about struggling and temptation and all this stuff just when we exit verse 8. That continues. That is the theme throughout the book of James. Okay? All right.
I have asked people several times in my life, I want to do something for somebody, whether money or just helping them with something, and they want to say no to me. I said, please don't deny me of the privilege of the blessing that God told me to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want to do.
Don't. Maybe your suffering is because of pride. And if your pride keeps you from accepting help from somebody else, well, guess what you've just done? You've just dug your hole deeper.
And there's
Okay?
Around the mountain.
thankfulness that has to come with it ties back to the patience and thankfulness with
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
Kindness and the wisdom at times is a circle.
Right.
This turns us back to how can we express our generosity in response to God's? If we appreciate the kindness received from God, we would surely be eager to worship God. All the more if we would realize that our happiness depends upon God and that whatever we need and whatever is indispensable comes from God and from none other, we would undoubtedly not serve the Holy Blessed One with indolence, nor be remiss in the performance of our duties.
That's from the Musar book as well. Nice. Okay. All right. So let him ask of God. Okay. And God says, or James says, let him ask. Now, this is what I said. The Greek grammar shows that this is a command. This is a present imperative, which means you are commanded to ask for wisdom in the midst of trials. Now, this is to a group of believers, a group of Jews that know God, a group of people that have accepted Hashem's commandments. And so they know this. This is already something that they know. Now, one thing is that God is going to give to all without hesitation and without reproach. Okay? And in this, in the Jewish mind, God is described as the giving God. That is how he is understood. He is understood as the giving God. God continually gives. He is always giving. He loves to give wisdom. All right? The Midrash teaches that God grants wisdom to those who already value and use it, not to those who squander it. Okay? Which means wisdom is for you, but it is always for the benefit, or also for the benefit of someone else. Okay? Here is Midrash. By a Hal 2:1. Did I have this on your sheet? Okay. By a Hal 2:1. Says, to teach you that the Holy One, blessed be he, does not grant intelligence to anyone unless he already possesses some already. Now this is going back to the previous one. You have to have some kind of wisdom. Okay? And I like what Anita said. If you believe that Hashem is this mighty God, this creator, this one that's over everything, then you already have some sense of wisdom. If you know that you're in an issue that you need to take care of, that's a problem, that's suffering, and you understand that God is the one that can help you with that, that is some wisdom that you already have. Okay? That's in Matthew chapter
So that would be talking about people who don't already have.
6, I think.
People
Yes.
that work.
Yeah, it is. God's not going to give wisdom like pearls to someone that doesn't want it. I mean,
That in itself is kindness, because it's putting on responsibility on them.
Well,
exactly.
it seems like they don't know what to do with it, and then they scorn and mock it, and that's putting more on them.
Yeah.
Because
There's
God does not have our ways.
right. Exactly. Okay. The Midrash also gives this parable. Midrash explains with a parable. Just as a lender would prefer to lend to someone who can repay, so God gives wisdom to those who will use it for good. The purpose of wisdom is to spread wisdom, not to hoard it. When you spread wisdom, you are paying God back for the gift. There's the reciprocity. Okay? He's not just giving the wisdom for you to hide it away, to keep it. Your wisdom is to be actively used through giving, through humility, through service, through kindness, through whatever.
Passing what on?
Yes,
What you
that's
want.
right. Okay? So,
Oh, like making disciples?
like making disciples. Yeah. So, he is going to give it. By the way, what does reproach mean?
Criticize.
No,
Yeah,
withholding.
asking,
Criticizing.
that's like, why are you doing
What? Yeah. Why are you asking
For
for
what
this?
reason?
Well, yeah.
What are you gonna do with it?
What? I mean, that's not what it's going to come back to. All right. Wisdom is a gift from God that is used for the benefit of righteous wisdom. Did I already show you guys this? The highest form of wisdom is kindness.
Yes.
Okay. So that is our application. Now, without reproach, God gives generously without scolding. Like, why don't you have this wisdom? Why not? What have you been doing?
Did you already know?
Okay, don't you already know this type of a thing? All right. So he's going to give it to this person that is obeying the command to ask for wisdom. Okay. So his answer is that he's going to give it to them. Okay. He's going to give it to them without any hesitation. Okay. All right. Now, if we stop at verse 5, we go, good. Okay? I just ask for wisdom, and man, I will be so much more respected by everybody. Okay?
Oh,
Man, what I could do with that wisdom.
Anita has put another aha in here. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So where does your wisdom start? The Quran, Buddha, ours baseline or compass is God. God and his attributes, and the greatest is his kindness towards us.
That's good. That's good. That's where it's going to start. Okay? All right. Now, let's read verse 6. But, what does but mean?
Pay attention.
Yes, but, all right. This is faith, but it could also be faithfulness. Okay? So, let's read that into that passage. But let him ask in faithfulness. Does that change a little bit for you? Okay?
Active.
But let him ask in faithfulness without any doubting. For the one who doubts is like the wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. Okay? All right. The asking is a present imperative, which means keep on asking. Is it imperative?
That's what you
Yes.
told us.
Keep on asking. You're required to do this. Keep on asking. All right? But we're supposed to ask in faithfulness. All right? Or in faith. All right? So, based on what we've been talking about, let's look at without any doubting. Okay? What does doubting look like in this passage?
Not trusting God.
Someone
That is
being
word.
worthy.
Not trusting God at his word. Okay?
Unbelief.
Unbelief. Okay?
Being blown and tossed by the wind, I don't know why, but I thought of like a little grain of wheat. And it doesn't have a very good foundation because it's uprooted.
Okay?
So.
Easily swayed, easily your circumstances are dictating your response.
Okay?
You're not,
Kind of like asking as a last ditch effort or something, just as a, crapshoot or something.
As a crapshoot. Nice.
Gotta try this.
Okay,
I think it's
Yeah,
hard.
just go until something sticks.
okay. I know we're all 21st century Texans with a Greek mindset. Let's go back to the first temple period, second temple period, first century Jewish time in a land far, far away, in a culture that's very different from ours. And let's step back and look at this. Now, I want us to think. Let him ask in faith without any doubting. And then there's this description about doubting. Okay? For the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. Okay, we've learned about this. In a Jewish mindset, what is going on when they read that little passage, that little phrase? What are they seeing?
The wind and the waves are chaos.
The wind
Well, the
and the
sea-
waves,
it's all chaos.
sea is chaos.
It's scary.
It's scary. It's where
Out of their control.
it's out of their. The sea is where the Leviathan lives. It's where the not the Holy Spirit, the bad spirits live, and they come out and they walk on this thing in the fourth hour, and it's just bad. This is chaotic. Bad juju.
No, but it's-
Okay? So,
That was 21st century.
okay, so without doubting, what?
God is in control or he's not.
Okay, he is in control or he is not.
Side here.
Okay, so doubting obviously is the opposite of faith. And it's the opposite of faith because why?
Chaotic.
It's chaotic.
Yeah.
You have put yourself in this situation where it's chaotic. And you're freaking out. I like that. And you're just blown around. And you have no idea. Okay?
Just remember to be still and know.
Yeah.
Good.
Makes me think about my patients,
Be still and know.
and a lot of them had trauma or different things that caused their foundation to not fully develop, and so they're blowing around like the wind, and they're chaotic and in crisis and not functioning.
Good.
A little weak.
Yeah, David spoke that in Psalms, that we are to be still and know.
Be still and know, which is very opposite of this, right? So, here's the thing. It's really hard, but you're in this place of suffering, and it could be bad. And all you want to do is lash out because you're pissed, or you're depressed, or you're this. And yes, maybe you need to get medicine, and maybe that's what the faith is about, is sending you to somebody that can help you.
And self-control.
Okay? But you need to step back for just a little bit and remove yourself from the chaos that's there and ask in faithfulness. Okay? Because doubting is like being blown and tossed by the wind.
When I think about this, it made me think about what we're going through with Kim.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I could have, I know I've said it a million times, but I could have been like that, tossed and by the wind when Marcus was going through chemo treatments for his cancer. But I had to really sit down and just really, seek his word, because without seeking his word when I was doing it, I could have been like that.
Uh-huh.
I could have let the enemy just put all things in my head, put all the kind of thoughts in my head, and saying, just saying, God ain't gonna heal him, and all this stuff. But I chose not to, because I chose to stand firm on God's word. No one I knew. And so when we go through trials and tribulations and suffering like we did, it wasn't easy. I mean, but having that faithfulness, knowing that I knew that God was going to show himself mighty in him, but I had to just wait and let God be God and let him do what he was going to do, because if I would have gotten in the way of it, it wouldn't have looked pretty.
It's good.
I could have lashed out, but I didn't. But I think that's what we need to just realize, that God is bigger than anything that we go through in life. It doesn't matter what we go through in life, that he's bigger and that he is in control of everything.
I don't know
There's no
where,
song.
I don't know where Nita shared that article, if it was just to the women or everybody, I didn't look. But it was talking about discomfort and that being a stepping stone to growth and all of that. But if you don't, I found it funny when I looked up the definition of discomfort, it uses it as a noun, and it seems more adverb or verby to me because of our action thought process now. But it had a graph. In the 1800s, it is in use, like, they used that word very rare. It was like less than 50 times. And then it grew, and it was like over 2,000 times in the late 1900s. And it only went to 2,000. So I can't imagine after COVID and all of our woe is me attitude in our culture, how much higher it would be between 2000 and 2025. And I was like, wow, because their thought process, like we're spoiled, and I'll acknowledge it, but I'm not going to let go of any of my spoiling. I like my electricity, my AC, I like my comfort, but I was like, we use that word very flippantly, and back then it would have been different,
Right.
like, why is it okay for me to compare the fact that I'm sweating because I can't, get cool anytime, no matter if it's 60 here, to someone that's actively dying?
I think a lot of that,
doesn't have clean water.
right, a lot of that too is if you never had air conditioner,
Yeah.
that was how you felt was normal.
Mhm.
It wasn't discomfort
Yeah.
because you never had the comfort. You got to have the comfort to realize the discomfort.
Yeah.
Right.
But it takes it back to the very beginning of this, of
Yeah.
going through trials. Well, my trials are trivial when you start comparing them to others.
Yeah.
That's right.
There's a great, to me, a really great part of the song. Fools rush in where wise men fear to tread. I've done that so many times.
I think we all have, yeah.
Okay, so the C, let's get through this verse because we only have a few minutes. Okay? The C, once again, is unstable and chaotic. All right? So you've got blown and tossed. By the way, that idea of blown and tossed, blown is going back and forth. It's a lateral type of a thing. And then the toss is like up and down, okay, kind of a thing. So this idea of being in doubt is like being in this thing where you're going up and down and side to side, and you're just staying there. Okay, you are in there, and being in this unstable and chaotic situation. That is this idea of doubt. Okay, and I also think that the one who doubts is the one who says, you know what, I'm just going to use it. It's being not faithful with what God has given you. And if you have that motive of being unfaithful with what God is going to give you, he ain't going to give it.
It's also like being lukewarm, like one foot in God's ring.
I think so.
What you want.
I think so. All right. And
lack of forgiveness within yourself.
Yes.
Is blocking that.
yes,
If you're not being faithful, if you're not tending to your sin, you can ask for wisdom all the time, but
if you just take that wisdom and hoard it, okay? Because the wisdom that God is going to give you while you're in this time of suffering should be wisdom that is poured out. That is outward, okay? Where you are taking it off of you and putting it on someone else, giving help to someone else, giving service. okay?
The knowledge you're giving me is making me very uncomfortable. I'm not enjoying it.
It's made me, okay?
No, I'd like to be called.
For that person must not suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord. In other words, what he just said in verse 6, if you were asking out of unbelief, or you are asking out of unfaithfulness, you're just hoarding, then God's not going to give it to you. Okay? So, if you're asking for wisdom while you're going through this, and you're not getting it, maybe you should step back and look at your motive. Or look at the situation. Are you asking out of fear because you're in this chaotic situation, you haven't stepped back and you've looked, and you're asking out of fear because you don't know what you want? Okay? Maybe step back and look at that.
You could be getting the wisdom, but you're not recognizing it as such because you're not asking other people, what does this look like? What does it mean?
That's exactly right.
So in the middle of it, you're not seeing it.
Right? And because, and remember, wisdom is part of being in community. So if you've withdrawn yourself from community because you're in this place, you're not getting it. You're not hearing it. Okay?
That just gave me the picture of whenever a person is drowning and the lifeguard rushes out to save them, that person fights against the lifeguard out of their fear and instinct and just the chaos. They fight against it. So it may be right in their face and they don't recognize it. Yeah,
That is good.
Just like it takes this
That's
one.
good.
it does take discernment, yes. And it takes other people to say, whoa, like, slow down, recognize you're okay. You like to ground you, to bring you back down.
Yep. So, man, that's a lot in the first 3 verses of this. Okay? We didn't get to verse 8. We'll do verse 8 next week. And we'll look at this idea of being double-minded. Double-minded. And then we will start in verse 9. Okay? And verse 9 sets the next part. But, as I've said, all of James is about when you're suffering. Okay? And it takes you to even the end. Okay? Maybe you're suffering because you are sick, because you have a sickness that is a part of sin. Okay? Maybe that's part of that. All right? Anyway, we'll look at all of that next week. Okay? All right. All right, you guys, I don't know why on Mighty that I don't see your questions. Like the first thing I saw was, or the only thing I see is Shabbat Shalom from Nancy. And I don't even know when that was. But that was a long, I'm not getting anything else. I don't even know why I'm on here if I'm not seeing all of the things. Anyway, Mighty, I'm going to get off of here and then come back on. And then we're going to have our time of fellowship for the next half hour. And then we'll go into our time of singing and prayer and teaching that. Okay? So I'm going to get off here and we'll come right back on.
I've got